Hello, it's a Sunday morning, and here in southwest Missouri, I think the best we can do is say it won't rain till later. We've had a lot of rain here. That emphasis is shifting from Oklahoma to Texas over the next several days and even week. But as far as severe weather activity, I think it is settling down quite a bit. Today's a really active day. Don't get me wrong. We'll talk about that in detail here in just a minute. But then the subsequent days after that, I think, are settling down. On the visible satellite loop, you can obviously see a huge swirl there from North Dakota into Minnesota, upper level system swirling through there. That's the next cold front right here. That's going to activate severe storms later on today in parts of the central plains. Meanwhile, you still have this trailing edge of showers and thunderstorms that's going to be a focal point, especially through the Red River Valley. We'll talk in great detail about that here coming up. But before we do that, let's take a look at the HRRR. This is the high resolution model. Every 6 hours, they run this out to 2 days. Normally, it's only 18 hours. So I take advantage of that and show you the swirl in the upper atmosphere, the trailing cold front, the thunderstorm cluster that's going to be quite severe moving around the Red River Valley. Those are basically the highlights for the next it's 2 days of worth of loop, and you can see this activity will continue into the southeast, but we really want to focus on today. Take a look at this. We're looking at a moderate risk. That's the name for it. So yellow is slight, and enhanced is the orange, and then moderate is 4. So that's 4 out of 5 chance of pretty high probability of severe weather. Cradle right along the Red River Valley, South Oklahoma, North Texas, including Dallas, and Wichita Falls is at the epicenter of that. And there's also another threat off on the East Coast at level 2. And then the cold front itself will produce kind of a level 2 out of 5 severe weather threat. And you can actually see where the front is just by how the outlook is curved right there. Let's take a closer look at that activity there. So it does include the level 3s, Oklahoma City, Amarillo, Lubbock. Dallas is in that level 4 area. So this cluster of showers and thunderstorms will mean business. It will have the capability of some tornadoes. So there's a 5% chance in roughly that same area. The frontal storms have a 2% chance. So that's this little lobe up here in Missouri. Nothing too exciting there. I don't think, one storm may be possible for a weak tornado up there. Here, as is usual with this type of summer activity, these thunderstorms develop into mesoscale clusters of storms and quasi-linear lines, but when they first start, they could produce tornadoes. And then once they get going, there's always a chance of an embedded circulation in the actual line. So that's what this is talking about today, 5% chance in that area of brown. It's mostly a windbag, that's a term that chasers use and forecasters use for meaning it's going to be a heavy wind producer. We'll show you that here in a minute. Also, there's 2 parts of the country that have that classification today. On Nadocast, it again kind of draws this 3% chance, this broad area from the Texas Panhandle all the way down to Shreveport, northern Louisiana. And then a little pocket there from Joplin in southeast Kansas has a slight risk. And then there's this interesting little pocket here in Virginia that is actually the highest tornado probability according to this model analyzation for Virginia. Interesting. And yesterday they had a tornado risk in Missouri, and I was kind of questioning it. I think they're trying to confirm a weak tornado. I think it's west of St. Louis. Oh, I saw that go by this morning, so there might have been one up there. Anyway, so that's the Nadocast for today. Let's look at SIPs. The general severe weather is actually, yes, showing this epicenter, maybe a little smaller than what the Storm Prediction Center is, really moving that into North Texas and Dallas more than this shows. But it does show this rather interesting. This just takes the current pattern and the model data and compares it, an analog comparison to previous things that look similar to this, and it found a pretty solid epicenter of severe weather in the Carolinas. In fact, the highest probability, even when compared to the Red River Valley. And then I don't show this much. I show the tornado version of this, but they actually do break this down by wind and hail too. So the wind probability, notice how it increases here across Dallas. That's just a reflection of the fact that once these thunderstorms get going into a line, they'll be a pretty good straight line wind producer. But look at this activity here in the Carolinas. This is the slight risk area. And, as I mentioned often, day 1, which is considered today, the SPC will issue an update to this late this morning and another one in the afternoon. So if you're in these areas, watch and see if they upgrade these to something higher. I don't imagine this area will go any higher than moderate, but this area here might go to enhanced. We'll see what happens later in the morning. And then we shift to the Colorado State University model. It does put a tornado emphasis when the storms first start. Afterwards, they become more of a wind machine because this is the wind probability. See how it extends east. And they are emphasizing that wind probability in the Carolinas, too. So some severe wind there. And then the hail is this chart, and they pretty much confine that to the Texas Panhandle. So let's go ahead to Monday. Finally, this part of the world clears out. The front provides a nice, cool, and relatively dry June air mass for the Central Plains. Meanwhile, level 1 and 2 levels pretty much east of the Ohio River, encompassing all of Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, and a chunk of the Appalachians, just east of the Appalachians, actually. Pittsburgh's included in that slight risk for Monday. They are in that 2% tornado risk, too, as is a swath from Mississippi up to North Carolina. And there's a verification from the SIPS model of just the general parameter for severe weather. We're talking about a 15% chance, covering that broad area that the SPC largely already outlined, the CSU outlined. Patchy tornado probabilities in the Northeast, New England, or actually New York and Pennsylvania, and there maybe around Birmingham up to Georgia perhaps, with wind not so much, and then hail a higher probability down in that corridor. And finally on Tuesday, things do calm down a little bit. Like I always say, at day 3, which is what Tuesday is, there might be room for the yellow category to be upgraded here in some of these areas. But the general outline is that a stable air mass is carving out the central U.S. here, and then the unstable areas along the edges of that is the simple analysis of what that is. So CSU has West Texas under the gun, and actually the tornado forecast is non-existent. Hail, West Texas, and then wind, the coastal areas of the Carolinas and down to around Tallahassee and Jacksonville in that area of Florida. And then on Wednesday, nothing from the Storm Prediction Center. Wednesday's epicenter for general severe weather is right around Sioux Falls and getting into parts of Minnesota and Iowa, and maybe a little bit of a patch down there in Texas. This is just the jet stream kicking in up here and enough unstable air to cause that situation to possibly erupt. Kind of backs up a little bit on Thursday. You're seeing a trend. The severe weather epicenters are shifting northward now. And Friday, same deal, even more now into Montana, parts of Wyoming and South Dakota. And then on Saturday, which is day 7, again, general thunderstorm possibilities down here, but more focused activity seems now to be trending northward, which is what you kind of expect in the month of June a little bit. We'll take a look and see if the NIU forecast verifies that, and it largely does. Remember, this is the maximum percentage chance of a supercell for 1 pixel for 7 days. So you can kind of get a trend here and see that stabilizing effect of that air mass there, and it kind of reflects all the outlooks we just showed you, including kind of a creep north of that severe weather probability. Let's what happens week 2, June 15th through the 21st. Iowa, Nebraska, the Corn Belt basically, into Michigan, up into Montana. Pretty high risk of supercells up there. And then going to week 3, which almost finishes out the month of June, getting late now. Still that same kind of shift northward in the severe weather trend. So if you're down around the Red River Valley today and you happen to be watching this, which I doubt because I don't think I have that big of a following yet, but hey, spread the word. But anyway, that's where you want to be watching for initial thunderstorms that could be tornadic and very severe that will turn into a line of storms that will produce straight line winds, hail, and maybe embedded tornadoes from West Texas up to the Dallas area well into the evening tonight. Thanks for watching today's edition of Severe Thunderstorm Outlooks. This is published every day after the morning Storm Prediction Center update. Also, remember to check that site off on day 1 because they update it fairly frequently. If you like this video, please like it. Also, you can subscribe to the channel for more content just like this.